And how do you get frustrated at times? Is there ever been a time where you see some people who get a break, and they put out garbage sometimes? Does that frustrate you as a filmmaker, saying, when is it going to be my time, or do you keep persevering and knowing, and you love your work and you have integrity for your work, and you believe that's gonna peak?
You have to stay focused, because the main thing is that everyone's life is their own life, and everyone has their own path and way to go about it, and basically get their careers going. I guess some of the subjects of horror films and a lot of the generic things do bother me, but I don't look at it as like a perspective of, when's my big break coming? You have to keep on moving forward, because you don't know when it's going to happen. But you have to make it happen somehow. No one's going to give you the money unless you can prove to them that you are able to execute a film and make it, professional, and also make them back money. I mean, it really depends on the investor. It depends on the people who believe in you. And it's really about building your own revolution, so to say, your own army. And at times it's small, but you try to continue to push forward and try to make the best that you can with the means that you have. Like what Paul says, we have Michael budget. Usually when I'm shooting with Paul, it's just myself and a video camera and a photographer. And maybe like another actor or something waiting in the wings, getting ready to shoot. That's what it is. It's not this whole big elaborate thing where we have 40 people on crew, or I remember Paul once told me that he had for Friday 13th Part 3 there was a lot of crew members for that. Maybe just a good amount of cast and crew when they were shooting the films. Now when it comes to something like this, it's much, much, much smaller. So I do appreciate Paul and our friendship and our continuing working relationship, and it's been really, really fun. So.
And, with Paul being there, I think what I like about this one, what I like with seeing him, I like how you used him in Mr. Mullen, what I can see with being the ex-mayor. And it's just, I love the shot. I love how you shot his with the, I'm looking for the word here, I apologize, in the trailer, so to speak. I love that,
right.
The shot you used of him and just how to set up his character, even this 12-minute thing that you can see online. But I can still get a good sense of the storytelling of what his character is about. His ex-mayor seems of some integrity compared to this Mr. Mullen who's coming in here and just is full of crap.
Right.
And doesn't care, and all he cares about is himself. And that's what I love. And did you have, when casting this film, did you automatically know which part Paul was going to play?
Well, with the latest films, I usually think of the story. I mean, when we did Loss of Hope, when I co-wrote it with my girlfriend Jennifer, we basically got together, and I said I have a film I wanted to kind of, show the talents of what Paul can do as an actor. As far as like, I wanted him to play the lead role. I wanted him to have a monologue, because I felt Friday 13th Part 3, it's very limited. It's a slasher film, of course. It was done in the 80s, and like Paul says in many interviews, they didn't really have time to really go over it. Steve Miner was just wanted to get the film done. So I always have Paul in mind, and that's why we've been working on a lot of projects together. I want to help him, revive his acting career, because he just loves to act. He doesn't care about the final product in the sense of, like most of these actors do nowadays, where they get really, where they want to see themselves. He just loves craft. That's mainly what he loves about it, is just acting and being a part of that moment, and that's very noble. I really like people who are like that, and it shows that they do it for the right reasons rather than just looking to get famous.
And as a director, you have to love a guy like Paul. And Paul, I have to tell you, I'm going to follow your diet on your site, because seeing how you look nowadays, I mean, you look great.
Damn, you look good.
I mean, you do. I'm sure you probably still have the abs, everything. You look great.
I'm in better shape. I'm in better shape now than I was in 1982. I'm 54 now, and I was 26 when I shot Part 3, and I'm in better shape now. So yeah, let that be the standard for you jokers out there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's something that Paul and I really enjoy. It's trying to eat healthy and exercising. I mean, Paul and I, we've been to many. Raw food is the essence of life. It's basically food that is usually not cooked. It's organic, fruits, vegetables, nothing seeds. So we like to get together and have some dinner in the city at a couple of raw restaurants whenever he's here, and we just share the same mutual respect for living, for food in general, and health. And we try to. He always expresses that with the things he's doing and his business and everything that's going on now. So. The
thing I want to mention though, and I didn't mean to be facetious there. I was just trying to give you guys a hard time, but it's not just about people. That's one of the areas of my expertise for sure is in nutrition and diet style. But the truth is, that's within a three-dimensional concept or construct called a lifestyle. We can never overlook that. That if you say, I want to adopt your diet, you really got to adopt a lifestyle, and that is about the way you eat, the way you move, and the way you think. So I just encourage you and all the listeners out there that the life we live is determined on the choices we make around our lifestyles. And it's at times it seems kind of overwhelming because there's so much conflicting information. But the truth is, it's very simple, but it is not necessarily easy. So I want to qualify that you want to, give yourself the grace and the latitude to be imperfect and try to improve. It's not about perfection, it's about progression. And that when you look back a quarter from now or a year from now, and you can say, you know what, I used to drink 5 soda pops a week, and now I haven't had a soda pop in 6 months. That's a huge, huge victory. And so I encourage every one of you out there to approach it from that perspective. Does that make sense?
I agree with you. Well, Dr. K, I suffer from Crohn's disease. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I'm sure you are actually with what you're practicing. I've changed my diet around to this point.
I could give you a 30-second, literally a cure for that. You just adopt what's called a paleo gluten-free diet. And what that means is you avoid every aspect of anything that has gluten in it. So that's all wheat products. So that's pasta, breads, cereals, crackers, muffins, pancakes, waffles, which is a huge undertaking because it's so common now in our culture. And then the other thing is to eat no dairy products. Because our genetics was stamped into its present form about 50,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago, during the late Paleolithic period when we were hunter-gatherers. And the two food groups that people eat today, the majority of their calories that they derive today, those two food groups didn't even exist when our genes, the human genome, was formed. And that was grains and dairy products. And I promise you, if you just went gluten-free, grain-free in 30 days, I promise you, you would call me and say, I cannot believe the turnaround. It will happen in like 10 days, 14 days. You get gluten out of your diet. Gluten is it's pro-inflammatory and pro-insulin spiking, and it is the root cause of many, 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 many diseases and conditions. And at the top of that list would be Crohn's and celiac disease at the top of that list. So there you go. No charge for that.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, for a doctor today not to charge, he's just saved me $50 to see my next specialist, which will help. Our own co-host, Mike, who is a big steak and hoagie and pizza guy, I don't think he needs a colonic and possibly a whole new weight loss system. So I'm going to recommend Mike to your product.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me qualify this. Now, Scott mentioned that we go out and eat raw food when we're in New York, and Scott has adopted a vegan lifestyle, and that's an awesome undertaking, and it's very challenging. That's not what I'm advocating. I'm advocating what's a paleo diet is what a Paleolithic person would have eaten 50,000 years ago, and that's nuts and seeds, lots of vegetables, and quality protein from animal sources. I'm not trying to, contradict the vegetarian or anything like that. But the truth is that meat is an acceptable part of a diet style, but it has to be qualified with the type of meat. And the quality of our protein that's available to modern man is really in the toilet right now. It's just, I'm driving right now. I'm parked on the side of the road in the middle of Kansas, literally right now. 95 degrees. It's, quarter to 8 o'clock at night. And all around me are cornfields and huge feedlots. And they grow corn to make corn syrup and to feed these cows corn. And then people that eat, the average person that eats beef in America is eating corn-fed beef, which is advertised, and promoted as being the best. It's actually the worst. We should be eating quality meat that is grass-fed, pasture-fed, humanely raised, not in feedlots pumped full of hormones, antibiotics, and things like that. Just like we're not supposed to eat grains, I mentioned that a moment ago, the animals we eat should not be eating corn and stuff like that. They should be eating grasses and pasture-fed animals. So anyway, as you can see, I'm very passionate about it. I don't want to take up time talking about it. So I just wanted to qualify that, though.
No, that's what I like. I do have a couple quick questions here. I'm going to go with one quick one for Scott. Scott, I wanted to ask you, if you could, and I talked about this earlier with the Halloween remake, and I know you're an original guy, I can tell that. But let's say a major studio comes to you and says, I want you to remake a horror movie. Now, if you, in your dream world, what horror movie would you love to remake and put your own spin on it that you're the most passionate about?
It would definitely be a lesser known film. I guess something like, and they're already remaking this. Alex Winters is directing this film, but The Gate, which was a 1987 horror film, and as a kid I saw that film and I loved it. So something like that. It would never be like a Halloween or a Friday the 13th because those things have been overdone so many times. But I think they could always put a new spin on things, and if I were to do something like that, it would definitely be carte blanche, where I'd be able to do what I'd want. But see, that takes trust of the investors and the screenwriter, so it's very tough to say that. So as far as right now, I guess it's just basically just doing, independent films and trying to be as creative as we can.
And I think you're going to hit a nerve with this, a good one too, with Mr. Mullen. That's what I think. Now, Paul, I have a question for you as an actor. Has there ever been a role that you've been dying to play that you've never got a chance to play?
And you got some great questions. I got to compliment you.
Thanks.
I think every actor, I would love to play the President of the United States. I would love to play a senator. I would love to play a really high-powered attorney, either one, championing a good cause or one who's very corrupt. But I love the idea of being a really strong, that has a really strong dialogue, that is a leader, that, is I guess a person that is in a position of influence. I love movies, like, for example, Michael Douglas has played a number of roles where he's in a position of influence. And similarly, but in a completely different vein, would be, a lot of the roles that Clint Eastwood has played and so forth are roles that I think they have influence and their characters are very strong but very real. They're not characters, quote-unquote characters. Their role has character, if you follow what I'm saying. So that's what I would just, I would die for sure.
And you have a good politician look to you too, like a Mitt Romney-esque, if you will, without the Mormon beyond it. That's why I thought you fit in Mr. Mullen. I really was like, wow, that's perfect.